Hello YouTube, B3 here.
And I'm Matt, B3's friend.
We're friends, forever friends. We have little lockets. But yeah, we're going to start doing some Ace graphic novel reviews. On my B3 Productions channel, I do action figure collection updates and I do the reviews over here. And I have comic book collection updates over there, so why not do reviews over here? Am I right?
Hey, look, I don't have a problem with it so far.
Obviously, you're sitting here.
Mistakes were made.
But yeah, today we're going to start with Justice League Volume 1, Origin. Yeah, so we're just going to hook each other up with graphic novels, and we're going to read them, and then we're going to
talk about them.
We're going to talk about them.
Novel concept, I know.
Okay, so you read it most recently. I'm going to let you give the little overview here.
Okay, well, if you don't mind.
Yeah, there you go, sir.
Alright, so I have to say, I am a new comic book reader. This is actually really, I know, slightly blasphemous here, but this is actually the first graphic novel that I really read cover to cover, beyond my own research online and looking at stuff and being interested. So everything I say kind of comes with a grain of salt that I'm inexperienced and don't, for the most part, know the canon at large. But I have to say, I really enjoyed this, especially as a first-time reader, because of the excellent intro that it really gives to most of the characters. It does a pretty good job, in my mind, of establishing where all the characters are going in, and it serves as an awesome origin story for
Cyborg.
Cyborg,
That's
yes.
his name. Yeah.
Clearly, I'm camera shy. But I guess for a brief overview, we start off, of course, with the Caped Crusader, and he is under gunfire. And as the story progresses, monsters begin showing up all over the place, left and right, like any good DC comic, I feel like. And he begins to run into the other soon-to-be Justice League members, starting with Green Lantern, and they end up, of course, assuming aliens, and go to find Superman, who is currently, I believe, beating some of those alien scum into the earth.
Yeah.
And they decide to pick a fight with the Kryptonian Man of Steel, and that was a bad idea.
It was really bad.
It was a very bad idea. I think Green Lantern says something like, "Nothing can break my ring or beat my ring,"
Yeah.
and Superman proceeds to backhand his way through most of Green Lantern's constructs.
Chains, really? And
bam!
That's a good panel too.
It was a great
It's a
panel.
nice looking panel. Jim Lee's art.
Oh wow! I have to say, I love the art.
Yeah, Jim Lee's my favorite.
It's clean and it's easy to follow, which I have not always been able to say about some of my, the things I found online, some other panels that I've looked for and looked through.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to follow than like The Dark Knight Strikes Back or something like that would be.
Though I have not read, I assume it is in a lot of dark colors.
It's not good at all.
Oh.
But it's
Conversation for another day, I guess.
yeah, it's not good.
But as the story progresses on, and the Green Lantern, Batman, and Superman proceed trying to find out who's starting this invasion of monsters, they begin bumping into the other future members of the Justice League, including Wonder Woman, who shows up in a pretty, stylish fashion. And as we go on, we also see Victor Stone's, I suppose, transformation into the Cyborg. Cyborg. Probably
Cyborg.
the extra article in front of Cyborg wasn't necessary. And I have to say, that was my, I think, favorite part about all this was Cyborg.
Really?
Honestly.
Not Aquaman?
Not Aquaman. I am a diehard Aquaman fan, all the way. But just within the context of this graphic novel, I thought Victor Stone's story and transformation was awesome. It does a good job of establishing his relationship, very rocky relationship with his father. And his transformation is painful, but also necessary, it seems, as he's kind of the catalyst for fixing a lot of this stuff.
They wouldn't have won without him.
No.
That's for sure.
I mean, hacking into the boom tubes and kicking Darkseid back to Apocalypse would not have happened without him. Correct me if I'm wrong there.
No, you're right. He's basically a mother box almost. So.
He does tend to boom around a lot. And of course, as we've already alluded to, Aquaman shows up, and that made my day too.
Yeah, that's like the coolest Aquaman panel of all time.
You know, if there's a way, I would love if you could put that just panel up, because Aquaman handling Green Lantern's skepticism is beautiful.
Pretty dope.
And I love that he's regularly confronted through the New 52, it seems, with people's skepticism about what uses Aquaman. And he just kind of has to grin and bear it for the most part. But, so Aquaman does join the fray. And initially the fight does not go well. Although I think I'm stepping into spoiler territory here. But, how spoilery am I allowed to get?
I don't know. I mean, we want him to go.
Buy it, because it's awesome.
It's pretty good.
Well, then maybe I'll leave it off there, but it finishes very much in what I assume is classic DC fashion. I think for the most part.
Finishes in classic DC fashion. I've never read a graphic novel.
Well, okay, having not read very many graphic novels, I have watched a ton of Justice League, a ton of the movies, a ton of the animated series from... Yeah, it's the phone. From Superman animated as a child, Batman the animated, Batman Beyond, Justice League, Teen Titans. I mean, just because this is the first I have read does not mean I am a complete
unfamiliar with the
ignoramus.
characters and stuff. Yeah, that's why we're doing DC stuff first.
Yes.
And starting on a volume 1 for you.
Which I greatly appreciate.
This was at the beginning of a whole new continuity. So
But-
that's why we're not starting with like Rebirth or something super new.
And I feel like the classic comic book style is that things get bad, hero rallies, manages to find a way to beat villain into ground. That's about your standard arc, and that's pretty much what this follows along.
Yeah.
Although probably the biggest bump for them is their actual ability to operate as a team. Because they all try to take Darkseid on one-on-one, and it does not end well for anybody who attempts that. So, and that was another great part to me, was them coming together as a team. So,
Yes.
Yes. That's about what I mean, as a rough overview, I don't want to give away too much of this because I want you to go buy it. So,
So I'm going to take this and talk about just what I thought of it in general. I thought it was good. I mean, it's not like this super classic comic book story, but it does introduce a new continuity of the Justice League in a good way. I mean, it's going to take a really big threat to pull them together. And Darkseid's about as big as you can get, to be completely honest. There's not a lot in the DC universe that you can just bump into like that. Darkseid's pretty tough. He's basically a god. So I feel like that was definitely enough to bring them together. It really did justify them coming together. And I feel like the portrayals of characters are done pretty well. Superman's a little arrogant in this book.
and I almost actually like that about this portrayal of Superman, because if you were Superman with the powers of a near deity, I might be a little arrogant too.
Yeah, but to me, one of the appeals of Superman is that he can be down to earth and have all that power as well. And I just don't like. I read a lot of his New 52 run for Superman. I just wasn't into it. I just wasn't.
So maybe that's some wasted potential. They could have done his finding some humility and becoming that grounded superhero that everybody loves. So maybe that's a missed opportunity.
Yeah, like when they did Rebirth, the only way to get Superman back to his roots was to kill him and replace him from the one with the last continuity.
That's, if from a writing perspective, you have really stuck yourself in a corner if that's the only way to fix the shit.
I mean, I just didn't like Superman.
I cannot blame. And again, I haven't read all of that and all the New 52 Superman because I'm new to this.
I like the New 52 versions of the rest of these guys. I haven't read Aquaman's solo, but I've been reading Justice League.
I started that.
Green Lantern, Hal Jordan didn't really change that much. Wonder Woman might have got a little more violent, but other than that, she's fine. And Batman's the same. Flash is about the same. Cyborg's cooler than he used to be.
It's been a great revamp, I have to say. They gave him a lot of good stuff to work with.
Yeah.
Especially considering he's on a team of people who are incredibly powerful. They really found a way to give Cyborg his niche.
Yeah, a lot of people are used to him being on the Teen Titans, but I think he works really well in Justice League. He's easily the most important character.
And the best rounded, at least in this particular issue.
He does feel the most human out of anybody, even though he's mostly metal.
Yeah, okay. Fair. But he's also still a kid. I mean, he's 18, I think. I mean, he's still in high school, still going out for a college scholarship, so he can't be older than 18.
Yeah, I'm thinking senior in high school
I mean,
when this happens.
yeah. So, and I think that's part of the humanizing effect, is all these other characters are established at this point. You get a little, get an idea of where they've come from, but this is really Cyborg coming into his own and I guess making the best out of a bad situation.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of what humanizes him so well. But I cut you off actually on your analysis.
It's cool. I don't remember what I was talking about. But as I said earlier, the art, Jim Lee, I just don't think it gets better than Jim Lee. Everything comes across really well. You can tell exactly what's happening. He's just perfect. Jeff Johns. I love Jeff Johns. He wrote your Aquaman.
I know, and I'm loving it.
So we'll be doing New 52 Aquaman as well. Even though that's not on my other channel. Those are his books. But
I can loan them to your channel. I'm happy to help out B3.
It's cool. We'll get him on here.
Alright.
But I mean, it was just a good round graphic novel. Good starting off. Justice League goes a lot of places in this continuity, so we'll be seeing that later. And there is a film.
There is.
A little animated movie, Justice League War, based off of
just a
this
little
graphic
one.
novel. Yeah.
And I actually saw that, I think within a couple months of it coming out. So I've been aware of this, this plot for a while. And there's some differences.
Yeah. So
not huge ones. They stick pretty close to it, it seems.
yeah, because in the movie, Aquaman's not in it at all. It's Shazam instead. But that's just so they could have Aquaman have an origin movie later.
Which I'm okay with, but I just want more Aquaman.
Yeah.
And Shazam worked really well in the movie, and I really enjoy Shazam as well.
Yeah.
But it was nice to see my boy Aquaman on the pages.
One thing you might not have noticed in the film is that it starts off with Green Lantern being saved by Batman instead of Batman being saved by Green Lantern.
Oh, wow. I actually... it has been far too long since I've seen the movie actually who have remembered that, but you're right now.
I think it works better having Green Lantern save Batman, actually.
I think it does also better establish Green Lantern's almost contempt for Batman without having any powers. I mean, actually saving somebody kind of gives you a little, I guess, somewhere to look down on him from, but
yeah,
maybe just looking too far into it.
But, just other than some little subtle things, the movies aren't really that... Well, that movie isn't that different from this one, except it doesn't have the little Trinity War set up in the end with Pandora and Phantom Stranger trying to figure out what's going on, and etc. But, yeah, we'll save some of that for later stories with them if we get to them.
Well, you are welcome to talk about it. I just know nothing about that.
Yeah, he hasn't gotten the Trinity War yet, so I don't want to tell him too much.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
But, I mean, other than that, it follows the formula. It's like tiny little things. Like in the movie... Flash doesn't come to help fight Superman, but he does in here.
Yeah, okay.
It's just little things like that barely change the narrative. But,
and the overall story is still the same.
Yeah,
it's the origins of the Justice League.
Still them getting together, fighting Darkseid. Really the same thing. But yeah, that's it. So, do you recommend? Do you like it overall?
Oh, yes, absolutely. It was great, especially if you're somebody new like me looking to get into this. It was a great introduction, a great way to establish the characters and bring them together, and it establishes their dynamic really well too, which I enjoyed, and I'm starting to see more of that as I continue to read the Justice League volumes. And so I think it's fantastically important if you're interested at all in about any of these new 52 characters, the revamps. Definitely check it out. Even if you don't like it, you probably need it if you're going to follow their plot lines, I bet.
Yeah, it's the same continuity as Rebirth, so...
Yeah, it all ties together here.
We'll get to Rebirth Justice League too. I just got volume 1 of that.
Oh, all right.
The other day. So. Yeah, that's it. Thank you all for watching. Remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the cool links in the description below. Facebook, Twitter, etc. And we'll be seeing you all later.